I like your
Hey
background.
everyone. Thank you.
That's cool.
I'm
Yeah.
feeding my inner child.
Very
Yes.
good.
So I'm Kate with But Why Though. It is amazing to talk with y'all today. And my first question is I wanted to know what parts of yourselves y'all see in your characters.
Gremlin. Chaos gremlin. Yes.
Like I try to be like Makima, like composed and, mature and knows what she's talking about. Keyword try. So I think especially like when I meet people for the first time, that might be their first impression of me. Like, oh,
Yeah.
she's really got it together. Like she's just, like very
I did think you
composed.
had it together.
Yeah. Little did you know. Yeah.
Speaking of little did you know, have you all read ahead for your characters, or are you keeping in line with just what you have for season one?
Yeah, I think yeah, I binged the first part of the manga prior to the show dropping. So yes, I know what happens.
Same.
Hmm.
I get that.
Yeah. You sure ate
Yeah,
it.
sure no.
And I love asking voice actors that question because I always find it fascinating. Do you all think reading ahead helps you kind of form the character out before you embody them? Or because I've heard different things. So why did you all choose to read the manga before or stepping in?
Yeah, well, two reasons for me. Like one, it's, generally good for me to understand like where the character is going, and like her motivations and everything. And, I'm very glad I did.
Yeah.
Because there's important things about it. But also just because like Chainsaw Man is so highly anticipated, like I wanted to know what all the hype was about.
Yeah.
So I was curious for my own sake. Like I wanted to really dig my teeth into it, and I'm really glad I did because those chapters just flew by. I just could not stop reading it. So
Yeah.
That's very similar. It's yeah, I think for this one it was super important to read more because then it helps with a lot of the world building of like what all is the world like, because if I know that, then it makes it a lot easier for me to get into that space of that character, because like what is their life like.
Yeah.
um Without all those things, it's a little bit hard, and it feels like you're in like a small little tube, and like
mm,
I'm trying to do this character. But
Yeah.
yeah, the more you read about it, I think the better your performance is going to be,
Yeah.
because then you've seen it all and you know
hmm
um, how this character will react to things.
hmm
That makes sense. And I think one of the things that I fell in love with Chainsaw Man when I first read it was the way that there are layers. Like on the surface,
mm.
characters look, Makima seems very held together and stoic and morally just, and Power seems like just super chaos, gremliness extraordinaire. And when you start peeling back pieces of who these
Mm.
characters are, it reveals a lot of depth. And I think we saw some of that already with Power
Mm-hmm.
in episodes 3 and 4, and her love of Meowie. I wanted to know if there are pieces of your character that people may not notice right off the bat that are really important to you when you bring them to life.
Hmm.
I it's a little hard for Makima's case, I think, especially like early on in the beginning. Like she's
Yeah.
not shown as much. I think the focal point is, the main three right now. But she's just, kind of in the background, being like Charlie of Charlie's Angels, like being like, you're on this mission and but yeah, definitely trying to uh foster that intrigue of her character, like
Mhm.
just start to plant the little seed that there's something about her but you don't really know what it is,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I think it's difficult to say because I feel like a lot of people already know. Like, if you've read the manga, you probably understand a lot about each of the characters. But uh, for Power, for a very long time, I see that she is very selfish and does not care about others. But when you see her interaction with Meowie for the very first time, you see like, oh, she realizes that having someone there was actually really nice. And it's like, oh, the absence of having togetherness actually really sucks for some reason. And so you start to see like she actually does value having others around rather than being by herself. And so I think she changes in that way, because I mean, she's definitely not as gremlin as she first saw her and when she mellowed out when she had Meowei, you know. I think the more she's around other people, the more I think that'll come into play.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think my next question too is along the lines of what I guess, did you all feel any pressure coming into such a highly anticipated anime? Because I would say I don't think I've seen this much excitement around an anime maybe ever, honestly.
Oh, really?
Like did you all feel any pressure from it, or were you worried? What were your emotions like?
Yeah, I think it's an understatement to say that like we're all very like it's just such a big thing that like I can't even comprehend it. Like it still has not hit me, and we're like, you know, a decent chunk in, you know,
Yeah.
so I guess I haven't like felt the effects yet. But yeah, for sure. Like when I first got the audition, I was like, oh my God, everybody's gunning for this. Like everybody wants this so bad. So I was like, I'm not gonna get it. So I'm just gonna, you know, throw my hat in the ring right there and just never hear about it again.
That's honestly the
But
best thing to do as an
yeah,
actor.
yeah,
Put your best foot forward and send it out to the
yep,
universe and expect nothing. And
exactly. Yeah, but well, now we're in this universe and it's very shocking. But yeah, like it's such an honor. Like I don't really have more words for it. It's a lot.
uh, yeah, similarly, a lot of pressure because I know that this character was very popular. I didn't know them before auditioning, but I've seen them everywhere, and I'm like, that's a really cute character design. Like I know these characters. They're it's kind of
Yeah.
fun. I wonder what that's about. Never dove into it to figure it out. And I wish I had before, but you know, now is better than never. And yeah, I do still feel like it has not yet hit me, and I feel like I'm in a trance, and
Yes.
like I'm waiting to like wake up like I'm in the Truman Show or something and just like find out that like this didn't actually happen. Like life is a lie. You never did anime.
I also wanted to ask too, like as we're kind of what do you hope people take away from your individual characters? Like when they watch them on screen and they hear your voice, what do you hope they take away from what you bring to the stories?
For Makima, I want them to be enticed, intrigued, you know, kind of, you know, like just like Denji, falling in love just a little bit, but you don't really know why. You know, it's just something about her, you know.
Something about you though. For my character, I hope that she brings a lot of smiles and brightens the day with her absolute chaos. The way she reacts to everything is just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think like describing her as like an 11 out of 10 is enough to kind of like capture
No.
it. That being said too, though, I think like one of the things that I've really loved about watching y'all's performances so far is how you all do really capture the essences of these characters. Like Makima is very sensual, but she's also very powerful, and the
Mhm.
sensuality never undercuts the power. And for
Mm.
power, she is erratic and chaotic, but also very powerful too, like in her own right. Like, what is it like to bring, I guess, to life like really powerful female characters, but also dynamic female characters that are
Mm.
kind of embodying spaces that we don't get to see a lot of women necessarily do in shonen, while also maintaining the, you know, the power, excuse the pun,
Mhm.
behind it as well. Sometimes, you know, we see a lot of flattened female characters where they're either
Mm.
just sexual and
Right.
sensual, or, you know, just chaotic, but having both of these women really showcased as being just giant tent poles
Mm.
for their organizations and their people. What's that like?
You know, I am thrilled. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be a part of something where women are respected. And, you know, they're actually portrayed with human characteristics. I mean, I say human, but you know what I mean. And they're just like so well-rounded, and you really don't get to see that too much in anime, especially in shonen anime, which I'm glad it seems to be becoming more of a trend. Because, you know, women watch anime too. Like we love it too, clearly. So I'm just so glad that there's like these kind of, I don't want to say role models necessarily, if
I would
Makima or Mao are good role models. No, but just the fact that they are more than just, you know, I'm a tsundere, or I'm a,
Yeah.
you know, a big-chested lady, you know, like just one dimension characteristics. Like I really, really appreciate that. And I'm so glad like the mangaka writes women in a way that it's like, oh, they're not just there to just stand there and look pretty. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. I heard that the writer of it got beat up by a woman once, and he loved it so much that he wanted most of the characters to be like that. He's like, oh, I love a powerful, powerful, strong hottie, someone who can kick my ass. I want more of that. And I like that. I think there's literally like only one character that doesn't follow suit with that.
Yeah.
And I like that because like I'm like, oh, because then all of the characters would be like that, and it might be a little bit too much, but
Right.
I love it. I love it because yeah, just as Susie was saying, like, you know, a lot of times they're like very one-dimensional for female characters. They're more worried about how cute can you make her, and
Or
look how feminine
sexy.
she is.
Yeah.
Oh, she's yes, what a sweet,
Yeah.
pretty girl.
It just
One
sucks.
very pretty girl.
Yeah. To be
And
like
so these
reduced
ones-
down to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like these ones, like seeing that they have a lot of power and can control, and like how like absolutely crazy each of them can be too.
Yeah.
That's really nice to see. Is like, oh, these people are more raw, and they're more like
Yes.
this is more a better representation of a lot of women that I've seen in an anime, honestly.
Yes.
Which I love hearing you all talk about it, because that's how much I felt. And I know I had some friends who were like, but he just wants to touch a boob. And I was like, yes, but there's more to it. There's
Yeah.
It's not just that.
Not just
And
that.
and that's the thing too, is like it's not like, you know, there's a lot of fan service and a lot of anime, but this one, like, it's not meant to be like that. Like it's very like plot driven, and then it's like you're supposed to see like how he reacts after each of these things that happens. It's not just immediately like, I'm touching all of these girls, I'm in my harem, because that's not that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like when they're first watching it, they see like a lot of the boob shots, and they're like, they're doing a lot of that, and then it's like, no, that's his eyes literally looking at the chest every single time he's talking to this person, because he does not care what they're saying. Instead of just like feeding you boobs, like, you know. Like that's like literally like what you're seeing is him. You see his side eye, and you see that. And that's something that's actually like made me like laugh so much, because then I'm realizing, oh yes, every single time I see like shots here, it's intentional, because that's what the character's looking at.
Except there's this one scene where they
Wrong for that.
definitely, like in episode 3 in the beginning where Denji and Power are arguing, they very visibly see Makima's behind figure. And I feel like the animators are incredibly aware of the fandom, like
They're
100%.
I think the animators are also very horny. And I am excited about that, honestly. The more of that we have, the better. Because there's also a lot of things I've been noticing, like that they added into the anime that wasn't in the manga. Like, for instance, like Makima tying Denji's tie.
Yeah.
That was very, very, very romantic, very intimate, and you're like, she's like, ooh, that's nice.
Yeah.
She knows how to tie a tie, also. Pretty cool, pretty hot. But also when Aki is about to go talk to her, he stops at the door before knocking and primps himself before going inside.
It was so funny. He was like,
yeah, he was like,
really funny. I just
Wait a
burst out
minute.
laughing when I saw that scene. I was like, you're so cute. You're fixing your hair before you go see her.
Yeah,
I love all those little
things
details.
they're doing. Yeah. So yeah, they're doing great work.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your time and for your amazing performances. I can't wait to see
Thank
more.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.